Will small agencies survive the next 5 years in business? Well, JC has an idea when it comes to how small agencies will have to develop to survive in the near future. Listen up to a franchising model that will actually guarantee success. In the upcoming session, it's all about both the strategies and the operations, right? The legal aspects and the quality that you will need to deliver to be successful. Very much looking forward to this insightful session about small agencies and their future.
All right, what's up, guys? How is Ad World doing out there? Guys, I'm super pumped. I'm so excited about the discussion we're going to have today. And so I look forward to your thoughts and ideas on this because, to be frank, I think the agency world is going to be completely shifted over the next couple of years. I think it's going to come dynamically change, and the whole entire system is going to be flipped upside down. Guys, just give you a little bit of background. So it was, I believe, 3 years ago, my wife and I, we were 7 months pregnant. And I was a part of one of the fastest growing agencies in the US. I mean, we were crushing it. We had about 300 employees. We had 1,500 clients. We were growing, we were scaling, we were learning. I was in Google's office all the time. We were doing stuff with micro. I mean, it was incredible. It was incredible. And you know the feeling of success and pushing forward. But to be honest, I was missing something big. I was missing something really big. So for me, my core pillars in life is faith and family. Everything I do boils down to how can I help my family and the families of my team, and how can I go through life really pushing with my faith. And you see, that was completely disrupted. I was at this agency and there was drugs, there was sex, there was alcohol. It was crazy. I mean, if you've seen Wolf of Wall Street, and that movie has nothing on our culture, on our people. And I found myself, my wife and I were expecting our first baby in just 2 months. And I was like, man, I would never allow my daughter to come into this office. Now, my floor was cool. We were chill. We were kind of the preppy people. But as an organization, we were very lost. And so through all of this success, my wife and I, we sat down and we're like, we got to start over. We got to leave. And so dropped equity, dropped everything I had at this organization. We packed up and we left. And at that moment, we started from scratch. It was just me and my wife in our house. And we said, what does this even look like? How do we grow? How do we scale? How do we make something happen? At the same time, we were scared to death. How many of us entrepreneurs are scared to death because we got to make sure that we can feed our families and our kids? And oh my goodness, college is coming up. We were scared to death. We were very blessed on this journey. We're now 3 years into Hite, and we've got about 100 full-time team members already. We went through a crisis. We didn't fire one person. We didn't cut one salary in 2020. We were incredibly, incredibly blessed. And then even through this, we've been trying to constantly look at how do we disrupt the market. See, we started Hite in a white label fulfillment environment. We were actually working on behalf of agencies all across the US, Europe, Australia, Canada. And we were going, how can we help them grow by creating a fulfillment company that, is on point, where we're just constantly in the innovation and development of products. And that's what we did. That's what we did. That's what we scaled and we grew. But something big was missing. You see, when most agencies get started, we do a lot of different things, but we really focus on 4 pillars. We focus on 4 pillars of scalability, and that are these right here, guys. You have to have each one of these. If you're missing any one of them, you're going to struggle, you're going to fail, and you're definitely not going to be able to scale. Number 1, you got prospecting and sales. So as a new agency, how do I find a way to get new clients, to get on the appointments with calls, and not only get appointments on my calendar, but how do I get it recurring and keep it going? Operations and technology. I mean, how do I build a tech company and systems that are quick and they can serve me at 20 clients and 50 clients, but can also serve 100 clients 1,000 clients, 5,000 clients. My fulfillment. How do I balance between, man, these guys that really know what they're doing is really expensive. But at the same time, we got to have the quality. How do I balance the affordability of having an amazing team, but yet also the quality? And then if you have all of that together as business leaders, as entrepreneurs, as agency owners, how do we hire? How do we fire? How do we manage money? How do we grow and scale? Who are our mentors? Who's on our board? The intelligence of being an entrepreneur is so difficult these days. The competition is so crazy. And so we have agencies all around. Every single person at this conference is focused on these four things. And how do I scale each one of them? So we have fulfillment. We have a lot of different options here with fulfillment. We have white label, which we've been doing this like crazy. White label fulfillment, where you go out and you find another company and you're betting on the fact that they are the experts. They're the ones that are going to hire the amazing leaders and build great QA processes and innovate the products. Or there's VAs. VAs, it's still on your shoulders, the innovation, but you can find really affordable team members. And then, of course, you can always bring it in-house. You can bring it in-house and you can have someone right there with you. And these options is 99% of the people in this room are doing one of these, but you have a lot of issues with this stuff. The marketplace is so competitive as we're growing and scaling. The lack of trust with our white label companies. Man, it's them versus me. Are they even that good that they say they are? They just sold me on something. Do they even know product? Maybe I know it better. Maybe they should listen to me more. Or misalignment on what to sell. Like how many people, if you think back at that chart that we looked at, how many people they have a coach or a sales coach and they're teaching them to do one thing, and then the fulfillment is saying, hey, you know what, you shouldn't sell that, you should sell this. And then all of a sudden your systems guy is saying, hey, systems is definitely more important, you should be selling SaaS. Misalignment on what to sell, what to serve your clients. Expectations, right? Like how do we get aligned on expectations with my VAs or my fulfillment company and myself? Pricing, operations. How does this all flow together? And then you start building the tech and the system. So you finally figured out the fulfillment. Maybe you're going with a VA. Maybe you haven't figured out. Maybe you're switching back and forth. Maybe you're testing a lot of different things. But now you go over to the tech and the systems. And you start building out tech and you start working on these things that are going to grow and scale. But still you have this idea of like, man, I want to build a company that is going to serve 1,000 clients. And so I don't want to have to rebuild my tech every year. So I'm thinking here, well, that takes a lot of manpower. It takes a lot of intelligence. In fact, one of the funny, we all know this, right? We learn through experience. We learn when I've served 100 clients or 200 clients, like now I figure out, man, after testing, now I have the right process. And so now I'm able to build a really good SOP and a really good system around that. I didn't know that in the beginning. And so even when we're building the tech in the beginning, as we're scaling a company and we're starting to grow, is this even going to work at scale? Do I even know the answer to that? We've never even built an agency. How on earth could I know what I actually need? And then we're trying to figure this out. We're figuring out the fulfillment. We're figuring out the operation. So what do? How many people out here have hired a coach? Coaches programs are a dime a dozen. There are millions of coaching programs, and I have friends with a lot of them. So we hire a coach. But the downside about this, guys, is that it's expensive. 10, 20, 30. I looked at a coach the other day, and because I'm even looking at mentoring and we're constantly trying to grow and scale, $50,000. Now, on the long tail, that's not that expensive. That's 4 clients for us in a monthly recurring basis. But the problems here is a lot of these coaches, as we're sold into this program, and what we find out is they haven't even scaled a business. They're really good at selling their program, but they've never even scaled past 25 clients. Again, are they aligned with the fulfillment that I've chosen, or the operations that I've picked, or the CRM that I'm using? And also with a lot of these coaches, is there any true incentive for them to grow and scale? Most coaching programs I have, and man, I would love, let me know, shoot me a DM or something, because I would love to know coaching programs out there that are incentivized for the agency to win. Agency, as you grow and scale, as you move forward, you're going to pay me more. So I'm incentivized to help. And oh, by the way, if you don't succeed, you don't owe me anything. You're not going to pay me anything because I'm guaranteeing or I'm really involved in your growth. Prospecting is huge. There's no true incentive for that coach to help you scale. And then we move over to, again, prospecting and sales. We mentioned this, and this is something that tops our minds so often. But prospecting is so difficult. Here it's really interesting to me. If you think about all the agencies in the United States, we could probably say that 99% of agencies in the world are what I would call micro agencies. They're agencies between that gap of 1, let's say, to 30 clients. In fact, probably a good majority of the room are in that path, 1 to 30. They have a great business. They're making money. They're doing good. Maybe they don't even want to scale, but they're what I would call micro agencies. They have 1 or 2 team members. And if you think about this, if you think about the landscape of the US, and we have thousands of marketing agencies, if 90% of them are these micro agencies, probably they have a budget for prospecting and for bringing on new clients of anywhere between $0 and $2,000. $0 and $2,000. Well, if you think about all the different ways that we can actually market with $0 to $2,000, if you think about all the different ways, what I mean, we have LinkedIn automation, we got Facebook ads, we've got maybe potentially things like, let's see here, different types of telemarketing. You got all these different avenues, but really you don't have all these different avenues. There's only like 3, 4, 5 things you could possibly do, which means that 90% of your competition out there is doing the same things. The problem is you're starting to scale, the things that you're doing, they're not utilizing the economies of scale. We're having to touch these lower level things that are really cheap to do, but they're not always the highest quality. Prospecting is difficult. It's so complex. After working, guys, literally through our White Label program, after working with hundreds and hundreds of agencies, after looking at tons of different coaching programs and going into them and sending our team through them, after working as our own agency and being able to scale to 1,500 clients, and then starting over and scaling to several hundred clients in just a couple of years. After through all of this thing, 5,000 list we've been on, we're hoping to be on it with the second company right now. We've completely changed the way the game is going to work. We found a way that we believe is going to evolutionize everything. Now, if you heard the title of the speech and you jumped in, you know exactly what I'm talking about. What's the solution? The solution is exactly what Century 21 did. Century 21, there was a guy by the name of Art Bartlett and Marsh Fisher. And these guys came in, and what they found was the landscape for real estate 50 years ago was identical to digital marketing. Like, it was so close, right? Like, you didn't need a degree, you didn't need education, you didn't need any certification. There was no regulation on real estate. You could just jump in, and as long as you could communicate effectively, as long as you hustled, as long as you worked hard, you could do really, really well. And the simplicity of Art and Marsh's idea was so incredible. Literally, they asked one thing. They said, if we all came together, could we do more as a group, as a unit, than we can independently? And that's what they did. That's what they did. They started a franchise. They started a franchise that allowed them to grow and to scale together versus separate. So what's the solution? What's the solution? We do exactly what real estate did. In fact, just 50 years ago, you have Art Bartlett, you have Marsh Fisher. They revolutionized the way real estate was done. 50 years ago, guys, real estate, everything was independent. Everything. There's no franchising or licensing or big groups. They were all doing their own thing. And it was a great landscape. In fact, it's just like digital marketing. It's just like digital marketing. There was no college degree needed, no special type of education. There was no regulation. You didn't have a license. You could just strictly go out there. And as long as you could communicate effectively, as long as you hustled, as long as you went after it, you could do really, really well. And so Art and Marsh, they went out and they just saw this opportunity. They looked out and they go, man, out of thousands and thousands of realtors, how much money across the board have we spent on websites? How much money have we spent trying to figure out the right processes all independently? What would it look like if we came together? And so they created the Century 21 franchise. They created this franchise and immediately they took off and they started growing and scaling and pull people together. They said, hey, why would you build a website? Just work with ours. And oh, by the way, you're going to get everything that we do. Everything we do is going to be combined. It's going to be way more affordable. It's going to give you economies of scale. It's going to make you more stable and it's going to give you the ability to grow and scale fast, but also be as stable as possible. And they completely changed the game. Now, what a lot of people don't know, there's the other side of the story. Now, just you guys can go look it up, but they also started changing the law. They were a big advocate. They were a big advocate for regulating the real estate industry. And regulation, guys, regulation is something that's going to be really interesting over the next couple of years in digital marketing. What does it look like when the government comes in? And I'm not a fan of this. I just think that we need to prepare for it. What does it look like when the government comes in and says, there's got to be some regulation on here? We're the only industry, to my knowledge, the only industry in the world where you give someone money expecting a return on your investment, and we're dumb enough to call it an investment. We're the only industry in the world where there's zero regulation on this. Zero regulation. You see, Art and Marsh, they knew the barriers of entry were way too low when it came to real estate. So they were actually lobbying to get this done as a franchise group. Now, today, 50 years later, my question to you is, how many independent realtors do you know? How many? It's so hard to compete because these guys have the leverage. They have the brand, they have the power, they have the connections, they have the technology. They basically, they own their own companies, but they were able to pull it together to really scale and grow. So what's next? If you heard the title and by this story, you know what I'm about to say. Franchising, guys, is what's next. We band together. We come together as a group, as one group under one goal. We increase our buying power. We go out and we start leveraging. Hey, we don't want 1,000 minutes of radio. We want 1,000,000 minutes of radio. Let's cut our costs. We start stabilizing each other when times get bad, when COVID hit our nation, guys. When we can build together and lean on each other, we can start saving money, saving resources, enhancing our power, and we can be able to scale much better. Ultimately, together, we're way more powerful than we are separate. It's that simple. Franchising digital marketing. If you look at every industry you could think of, once franchising came in as a concept, it took over. Look at the auto industry. The auto industry, everything is licensed and franchised. You look at food, Walmart, Sam's Choice, it's licensing deals. You look at restaurants, any restaurant, 90% of restaurants out there, franchise, real estate, insurance. You go through the mix, and all of these, franchising has been the way. And we're on the cusp of something new here. So now it's like the perfect opportunity to figure out, how do I get into this model? What does this model even look like? At Hite, we're trying to pioneer it. We're trying to push it forward. We have prospecting, but it's a new age of prospecting. I'll give you a perfect example here. We were able at Hite to create an amazing relationship with Dave Ramsey. Ramsey Solutions is an incredible brand. They do a lot of good things. And at prospecting now, we're sponsors and they sponsor us for all of their podcasts. Let me tell you, my friends, if you look right now and you go to like Facebook leads or anything like that, most people out there are getting leads, $100 cost per booked appointment, $125 cost per booked appointment. I'm going to tell you right now, our results with Ramsey Solutions have been so incredible. Our cost, not per lead, not per booked appointment, per showed up appointment is $75 cost per lead. $75 cost per lead. Now, it's incredibly expensive. It's incredibly time consuming to make those partnerships work. It's incredibly robust, but it's economies of scale. How can we go after ways where we're not investing $1,000, but we're going after opportunities and we're investing 100,000? And because of the buying power, we're getting things that much cheaper. After all, the Super Bowl is incredibly expensive, but the cost per view is much better. Prospecting at a whole new wage. Systems and tech. At the end of the day, 90% of the agencies, they all function fairly similar. Why are we each one of us investing in tech when we could come together at Hite? Our entire company is built on Salesforce, one of the most robust platforms. We've invested $500,000 on this. This is so difficult for a small agency to get on with. But again, when we band together, it's incredibly affordable. Like I think our cost per license at Salesforce right now is like $25 a license. Why? Economies of scale. You have fulfillment. How do we bring this together, right? If I have 5 or 6 or one person doing PPC, I'm limited by the knowledge of that one human being. But if I've got 20 or 30, guys, marketing is getting more and more complex. It's a competitive environment. I don't always know the answers. Even if I'm hella good, I don't always know the answers. I need to be able to look across, and the power of having 10, 20, 30 people all doing pay-per-click is huge. Because when I don't figure it out, I can walk across to my neighbor and go, hey, help me out. And not only do I have the product, we also have QA. And then you have all these other opportunities with innovation because, again, we're coming together. We're sharing resources. We're growing and we're scaling. Coaching, mentorship. Like how do you band together? The whole entire idea of a franchise model is that you're learning from each other in real time. And so whenever it comes to a small agency, even at Hite, when we were small, we were learning, but we were learning as quick as we were working, right? When you have thousands of clients, you learn things a lot quicker because now we're testing on hundreds of clients at a time and A/B splitting versus just 5. So not only is it quicker data, but it's more accurate data. So we can make better decisions on how to roll, how to change, how to evolve as an agency. Branding. Again, things like Dave Ramsey, things like all of these different types of opportunities to put your name out here. Here at AdWorld, how do we band together to increase our branding power? Ultimately, guys, it's everything at scale. Everything to be able to scale faster, quicker, and so on and so forth, right? But it gets even better than that. It gets even better. Because in the franchise world, I don't know how much you guys know about it. I'm learning every single day. But in franchising, it's almost like the franchisor can't let you fail. You see, there's something in franchising that really protects that franchisee, that really protects that partner. Not only do you own your entire business, right? Like you fully own your LLC. You're still the full entrepreneur. You have the idea that together we can make better decisions than we can individually. But it gets even better because in franchising, that franchisor, that bigger organization, Keller Williams or Shelter or McDonald's, they have to disclose the good and the bad. And they have to do it equally. They got to tell you their best, but they also, by law, have to tell you their worst, which means as a franchisor, I have more buy-in. I can't let you fail. I have to do everything in my power to make sure that you're successful, to give you every tool, every resource, every bit of information that I can. These franchise companies out there, they have to do this or else they're going to have to disclose that, hey, yeah, we sold 10 franchises this year. We brought on 10 amazing partners, but 5 of them failed. Do you want to come join us? No. You see, as you're joining a franchise, you're buying into a model not only that is going to help you scale and stabilize you, but there's pressure from both ends to go, you know what? Let's make this happen. Let's do whatever we can to scale. Going back to these 4 pillars, guys, I truly believe in growing an agency, you have to have all 4: business intelligence, prospecting, operations, and fulfillment. And you have to have them all flowing together. See, in the franchise model, these guys are actually flowing together. They're going as one. The intelligence is based on the fulfillment. The fulfillment is based on the prospect, and the prospecting is set up according to the operations. It's all one methodology. And again, it's all developing incredibly quick. What does it look like here at Hite? We want to change the way we're going. Again, back to my core pillars, right? Faith and family. For me, what does it look like to become the Chick-fil-A of marketing? To be a part of an organization that has such an amazing brand. And nowadays, there's a lot of great people on PPC. There's a lot of great people doing SEO. For me, I want to look at it as impact. How can we make a difference? How can people know us for our values just as much as they know us for our product? Here at Hite, we're trying to revolutionize. I got the opportunity actually to meet Truett Cathy way back in the day, and it was an amazing experience. This guy is an incredible man, incredible family man, and this guy loves people. I mean, loves people. Here at Hite, we're trying to change the model, not only at the structure wise, but also even at the values wise. We have people like Caleb that have joined our team. And those of you that are agencies out there, people like Caleb that have joined into a franchise model, that he's doing $1 million in revenue a year. And obviously he doesn't have to have a franchise model, but he sees the power of, if I want to get to 2, 3, 4, it's a very simple question. Do I feel that I can do it better with them or better on my own? Can I do it better with a VP of product and a VP of operations and a board members that comprise people from all these incredible companies? Or do I think I could do it more efficiently on my own? You have big agencies joining into these type of programs. You also have smaller ones. Tatiana is one of my favorite people in the world. She's incredible. Her family is getting really close to my family. She started her agency, I believe, right at this moment as I'm doing this speech, right at 9 months ago. And she's already having $30,000 months, $25,000 months on a recurring basis. Why is that? Because she's walked into a structure that's helped enable and push her so she can focus on what really matters to her, which is serving people, creating relationships, and learning how to serve them in the best way possible. You have amazing people from all avenues, from big agencies to small agencies going, hey, how can I jump into this model? Whether you're trying to join one like Hite or whether you're trying to create your own assembly, either way, I think this is the future of digital marketing. Guys, if you're interested in learning more about us, franchise.hitedigital.com. Again, there's no pressure. These are a very long-term conversations. We talk for weeks upon weeks before we ever make any decisions. Because at the end of the day, it's almost a marriage, right? You're getting in business with these people. It matters. I would love the opportunity to talk to each and every one of you guys. It's a little crazy. There's a ton of you out there, but I'm super excited to get to know you. Definitely hit me up on Instagram or Facebook or anywhere if I can answer any questions, thoughts, and ideas. I would love to know your feedback, though. I would love to know what you think of this. Is this a bunch of crap, or is this something that you could actually see happening? Because I believe in the next 5 years, I believe in the next 10 years, it's going to completely change. And potentially, it's going to look a lot like real estate. We're independents, just not a lot of them anymore. Hope you guys have a blessed day. Be good, be safe, work hard, but always keep in mind, happiness is above all, right? Stay true, be good.